Hi everybody, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Chris. Today I'm finally getting around to doing some of my spring picks. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but where I live, it is still cold and I am thoroughly enjoying wearing my cold weather fragrances. However, it is April and it is about time that I start doing some of my spring perfume videos. I have a lot of ground to cover. My spring videos are going to be divided into a series. There will be little to no gourmands on today's video because I am doing a spring gourmand video collaboration with the one and only Sharita. So I'm going to take the bulk of my spring gourmand fragrances and put them on that video. Super excited, that should be in about a week. And then it's time for me to do another vanilla series. I think I did my first vanilla series pretty soon after I started my channel. It's time for another one. So I'm going to do another vanilla series. And then if I can get my act together, I'm planning on doing something I've never done, which is a week of florals. I have so many floral fragrances that I still have never shown on a video, and I'm planning on dedicating an entire week to spring flowers. So that will allow today's video to be much shorter. So these are fragrances that I am super excited to wear for spring. Some of these you have seen before and others are new, so I'm really excited to talk about them. And with that, I'm just gonna get started. So the first fragrance is just the epitome of spring in a bottle. It looks like spring and it smells like spring, and it is Lucky by Christian Dior. This is really my happy spring and summertime fragrance. I don't know if you can tell, but the juice inside is light green, and this is just my happy spring and summertime floral. This is a Lily of the Valley white floral fragrance. It's a clean floral and a little bit watery, but it's not sharp and it's not soapy. You can definitely smell the florals, but it's not overly floral. And you can definitely smell the greenness inside, but it's not sharp. Sometimes green fragrances can be a little bit sharp and give me a headache. There's none of that in here. It's clean and refreshing because I think there's an ozonic note. And again, this just screams spring to me, which is perfect filming today. And as I'm saying this, I can hear the lawnmowers outside. It is a gorgeous spring day. I got off work early. It's a Friday. The sun's out. It is a little bit chilly, but you just know that that warmer weather is around the corner. And Lucky is something that I love to wear in the spring and in the summer, but really this is just spring in a bottle to me. And I wanted to quickly comment on longevity. This one is not a powerhouse. It's on the light side. I get around 4 to 5 hours with this one. My next fragrance is because a lovely subscriber sent me a decant of this perfume. I really fell in love with it. I put it on my wish list and I think I waited around 8 months until I bought it in December when Neiman Marcus or Saks was having their big end of the year sale, and it was worth waiting for, but it is another one that's spring in a bottle. This is Le Promise by Cartier. This is a very green iris forward fragrance, so I believe it has petitgrain, and petitgrain is it's a green note, but it can be sharp. And it's very noticeable when you first spray this. The iris in here is very powdery, but it's also vegetal at the same time. A little bit of musk and a little bit of woody dry down, but this is basically a green iris perfume. I believe this is an eau de toilette, so it is very light wearing, but in my opinion, it's perfect for the office. It's work appropriate, crowd appropriate, and it just screams kind of muted elegance. This would be a dressed up white button down shirt or anytime you want to feel classy and put together, but not overbearing. I'm going to pull for Le Promise, and again, this is very, very light wearing. So if you like your fragrances really, really strong, you want to stay away from this one. But since I work in a hospital, I'm always looking for fragrances that wear lightly and aren't going to overpower people. Or if I'm going to be around people I don't know very well and I don't know if they have sensitivities to fragrances, light wearing fragrances are perfect for that, so this would be great for that. The next one is brand new to me. I got this when I was traveling about a week ago, visiting family in Houston, and I took my mom to downtown Houston. She doesn't like to go into the city because it's very crowded and people drive like lunatics. That being said, the shopping was great and I picked up a bottle of Tapas Volant. I stopped by the counter, sniffed several, and went out the door with 3 bottles. So this one I think I bought because it was warm in Houston and it was springtime weather, and it just was another one that screamed spring to me. This is another iris heavy perfume. So I would describe this as a spicy florally sandalwood that's very light. I know iris is in here, and I think there is one other floral maybe jasmine. This will be great, in my opinion, for the warmer spring bays if we ever have them. It's very light wearing, it's very powdery, and I'm certain that's from the iris. There are definite spices in here. It is a spicy floral, and it's a little bit aromatic. There's like sage or thyme. I don't think either of those is listed, but I do get that vibe, particularly in like the first hour. And as this dries down, it gets a little sweet, but it's never like overly vanillic sweet. The sweetness is from like a warm tonka, I want to say. So it has that tonka sweetness, which isn't very sweet, but it adds a sweetness to a fragrance. Another classy one, another one that I would wear with a crisp white button-down shirt, or when I want to put together, feel classy and elegant, but not overdone. I think I'll pull for Tapas Volant. Another one, in my opinion, that is work appropriate. It is light and feminine and powdery and nice. Again, it does wear lightly, and the handful of times I have worn it, I get around 4 to 6 hours with this one. I'm gonna sound like a broken record. Another fragrance that is spring in a bottle, and I discovered this line when I was in Italy shopping in a little boutique. They had this fragrance or this line buried in the back with some t-shirts and candles, and the line is called Coreterno, and the one I have in my hand is called No Sleep. This is a very green fragrance. It's very green and very powdery, is because the main florals in here are lily and hyacinth. So hyacinth is a very green floral, and lily can be green as well, but I really get the lily. So if you're not a fan of lily, stay away from this one. So it's green, it's floral, it's powdery. It has a woody base of some sort, maybe sandalwood or cedar. And this is a little bit greener than I typically prefer. So this one is out of my comfort zone, but there was something about it when I tested it that drew me in. Maybe because it just reminded me of Italy, and it smells like spring, and it doesn't smell like anything else I have. I really do enjoy it. And I actually wore this a couple times in the winter on a sunny day. This is one I don't go ham with. I don't want it to give me a headache. So if I spray less than 6 times, I'm going to be good to go. Another one that screams spring, I will be putting this in my spring florals. I would say average to moderate longevity. And again, reminds me of Italy. The next one, I think I'm gonna choose Valaya. I have not worn this in about a month and a half. I did a full review. I've never done a full review of a single fragrance before. I was very excited to talk about it when I first got it, so I will link that below and won't go into great detail because I did go into great detail before. But this is a very musky, citrusy floral. It does remind me of other fragrances in my collection, and I'm just gonna spit out a few names. It's in the same category. It definitely reminds me of Fleur Narcotique. Same nose for both of them, and it reminds me of one of the Kayali fragrances. I'm blanking on the name. This is a very slightly aquatic, musky version of Fleur Narcotique, and as far as longevity, surprisingly, this thing is very long lasting on me, particularly when I spray on clothing. So again, my much longer review is on a different video. The next two up, one you've seen me talk about before and one you have not. And oh my gosh, I am so excited about this pickup. It is by Ormonde Jayne. I think I have around 6 of her fragrances, and this is one of my favorite. It's called Tangier. And oh my goodness, it is beautiful. If you like a sweet neroli orange blossom fragrance, this is gorgeous. Actually, one of the few blind buys I've had this year. I've done a lot better job not blind buying. I've had where I was very weak, I did a couple blind buys. A couple of them were not good. This one was, oh my gosh, I love this. Even though I do have a lot of orange blossom and neroli forward fragrances, some of them, or many of them, are sweet. This one is one of my favorite, and definitely a hidden gem. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about this one. So this is a sweet ambery floral, and the flower in here is neroli. So it's like orange blossom, but a greener version of an orange blossom. There is a heavy dose of amber, and there's some resins in the background. So it's sweet. So this is a sweet fragrance. So to balance off that sweetness, there are some citruses at the top. I want to say like orange or lemon. There's a cashmere wood in here, which is just very warm and enveloping. And there's oak moss to give that little bright mossiness. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this, and performance is fantastic. So the next one is one of my favorite florals. It is my favorite cherry blossom perfume. And when you think of spring, you think of cherry blossoms because that's when the cherry blossoms are blooming. And Sakura is by far my favorite cherry blossom perfume. It is cherry blossom forward, but there are other flowers in here, namely rose, and there's a little bit of mimosa. So it's a little bit powdery, and there's violet in here. So it's just this perfect perfume for spring and summer, and I'm chomping at the bit to wear it. I love this in the summer, but I do enjoy wearing this on a warmer spring day. It's a beautiful spring and summer floral. It's very elegant, very chic, very pretty. It is perfect for those two seasons because it is bright, clean, and fresh without being soapy. This is not a soapy perfume, and I just love it. It's very chic, pretty, and elegant. The next two are from a newer line from Estee Lauder, and I'm going to choose Radiant Mirage first. So this one is a patchouli dominant fragrance, but the patchouli in here is very similar to the patchouli in my beloved Gris Dior. So I think it is the patchouli that could be easy for a lot of people to like. Listen, this is not a blind buy, even though I got both of these at a discount. One I got at Jama Shop, one I got like at Saks Fifth off 5, the discount, Saks Fifth Avenue. I don't remember where I got which one, but I got a fantastic deal on these bottles. And again, nothing is blind buy safe on this channel. But the patchouli is very dry in here. There's a little bit of pepper, like a pink pepperiness. It's there. It gives it just a little bit of like a bright bite, if that makes sense. The florals in here, I think the floral that is listed is jasmine, but I get rose, so that's probably like a rose jasmine combination, and there's something in here that's giving it a little bit of sweetness, like a fruity sweetness, and I don't think any fruits are listed, but if I had to guess, I would say like an apple or a plum, just a real pretty sweetness, which is needed because of the patchouli. This was a shocker for me. I really, really like it. The next one is the only vanilla that is in the list because I'm going to do my separate vanilla series, but I had to include at least one vanilla, and this is Infinite Sky from the line. So even though it's probably listed under vanilla, it really to me is like a spicy amber. Oh, it smells so good and warm. It has these peppers. It's like a Szechuan pepper, so it's very peppery, but there's a lovely sweetness from vanilla, and there is something called leatherwood. I'm not really familiar with that, but it just smells like a warm, woody, peppery vanilla. Dominique Ropion is the perfumer on this one, the same perfumer who created Baby Cat. Now, it does not smell at all like Baby Cat, but I just wanted to put it out there that a very famous nose created this fragrance, and the point of view was to create a perfume inspired by nightfall. So as the sun goes down and turns to dusk, a warm, spicy, and enveloping ambery vanilla that is perfect on those colder days or colder nights. I love this one. And performance is great. I get fantastic longevity with this one. Less so with Radiant Mirage. Infinite Sky wins the longevity contest. So I do have one gourmand on this list. Of course, I can't do a video without at least one gourmand. And I wanted to include this perfume because I did want to talk about this brand. I meant to talk about this perfume brand that I discovered on Instagram when I did my amber perfume video, and unfortunately like 7 of the perfumes I talked about, something happened to my camera, they got deleted. I don't think people want to see an amber part 2, particularly as we're heading into the spring, even though I do wear ambers in the spring and the summer, but I definitely wanted to talk about this fragrance brand that I have, like again, that I discovered, and I think I have 4 full bottles, and the one I'm going to talk about is called Downtown Deja Vu. This is a super fun fragrance, and another reason I wanted to talk about the brand Day 3 Fragrances is that they were so kind to give me 2 discovery sets for my subscribers. I think discovery sets are a great way to discover a house, and so I have 2 discovery sets. I think there's 6, let me check. There are 6 fragrances in here, and again, I have 4 or 5 full bottles I purchased myself. I was that impressed with the brand. So the fragrance that I want to talk about is called Downtown Deja Vu. So the point of view of this fragrance is going to the mall in the 90s, which is something that I did all the time. I have worn this probably 5 or 6 times because it has a note of cotton candy in it. And believe it or not, I think I have 8 or 9 fragrances that have the note of cotton candy. So if you want me to do a video on like cotton candy or cotton candy and popcorn, let me know in the notes below and I will definitely be up for that. Cotton candy seems to be a note that I just can't resist, along with rice and anything sweet, it seems like. But anyways, so this fragrance, I have a hard time picking out all of the individual notes, but I know that there's a note of like a fruit smoothie. I wrote it down because I literally cannot pick out the notes, but I do smell them all in here. So there's a note of fruit smoothie. So it's like you're walking past the smoothie shops, and let me tell you, in the 90s, smoothies were huge. There were smoothie booths and smoothie shops everywhere. There's linen and iris in here, and this is supposed to make you think of like walking past a department store, or maybe you just purchased a fresh shirt. So a little bit freshness, a little bit starchiness, maybe a little bit powderiness. And in the base is where all the fun, naughty sweetness is. So I think there's cinnamon, suede, and cotton candy. So the cinnamon is for walking by the cinnamon bun store or the Cinnabon store. The suede is you're walking by Wilson's Leather, which was everywhere back then. And the cotton candy note to represent the candy stores in the mall. Super, super fun fragrance. They are very reasonably priced for being a Nindy, for being a niche indie house. I want to say I paid around $90. This is 50 ml. And before I forget, yes. So the discovery sets are $20. That's it for all these fragrances. And I'm not being sponsored, and I bought this bottle myself, and the company has a nice policy in that if you want to buy a full bottle, that $20 that you spent on the discovery set is taken off the price of the full bottle. I mean, it's just kind of a win-win. So you got a free discovery set out of it. And I did want to mention, and before I forget, one of the fragrances from this line, La Tacita de Café, which I do own, it's delicious, is a finalist for the 2023 Art and Olfaction Awards. And I think the winner is chosen in May. So that is way to go, day 3. So if you're interested in the discovery sets, let me know down below in the comments and just say, I love the 90s. And that way I will know to put your name down in the drawing for the discovery sets. Speaking of very impressive indie/niche fragrance houses that I found on Instagram last year, the next one is a brand called Who is Elijah? And at the end of the year, they had a big sale on their discovery set. Their discovery set is great because it's like 10 ml travel size of all of their perfumes. I would say all of them were great. I didn't maybe love a couple of them, but I liked pretty much everything and I loved a couple. So I bought one called His, Her, or Her, His. Love that perfume. That is one of my most popular everyday fragrances for the past couple months. And so when they came out with a new fragrance, I blind bought it thinking there's no way I can't like it. And it was another home run. So the fragrance I speak of is called Morning After. Oh my gosh, I love this. It smells very similar to, it's not a dupe. This is not a dupe house, but it does smell very similar to, or it shares a lot of similarities with Santal 33. On the bottle, they call it a woody leathery musk. This is definitely a woody fragrance. This is a sandalwood cedar fragrance with some leather, some spices, some freshness, and a little bit of sweetness in the dry down. So if you have Santal 33, this one is probably too similar, although there are some big differences. I know Santal 33 can go in that pickly direction. I don't get that. With this one, I get more of a cucumber freshness. So this has a cucumbery freshness. There are some dry spices, there's cardamom in here, and there's a note of papyrus, which is a little bit hard for me to tease out from the other notes because papyrus can smell woody, spicy, and a little bit leathery. It's a fresh, spicy, woody perfume, and the dry down's really nice. The dry down is a little bit more sweet. So if you've ever tried Gris Charnel Extrait, that dry down, the way in the dry down, that vanilla is the same sweetness I get in here, and I find it absolutely addictive This is a fragrance that is very, very appropriate for work. I've worn this to work probably 10 times, in addition to wearing her to work at least 20 times. They're both fantastic work appropriate fragrances. They're like, you know, that clean aesthetic, that clean girl, that chic white t-shirt, your skin but better, kind of in that ballpark. But a new fragrance that I am loving and have already been wearing it in the spring, because this is pretty good for all seasons. This is really going to shine while it's still cold in the spring, but all throughout spring, summer, and even into the fall. This is a year-round fragrance, but I'm going to love to wear it in the spring. Okay, I have 3 more fragrances, and I think I will call it a day for this perfume video. The next one is one of the fragrances that got deleted on my Amber video, about 6 or 7 perfumes for whatever reason. I think my camera went kerplunk and deleted me talking about 6 or 7 perfumes. This was one of them. But this amber is definitely an amber I will be wearing in the spring and summer. Not all amber fragrances work well in the warmer months, but this one sure does. And this one also stole my mom's heart. My mom is super picky. I've probably sent her 30 to 40 decants. I stopped because she's so picky and didn't like anything I sent her. But this is one of the few fragrances she loved, and she is now on her 2nd bottle, and that is Istanbul by the house of Gallivant. So Gallivant purposefully makes these small bottles so that they are travel friendly, so that you can travel with them. This is a very sweet, creamy, light amber that has some really nice aromatics. I want to say there's like lavender and sage. And they're subtle, but just enough to give this a little bit of dimension. And I think it kind of cleans up the amber or freshens it or brightens it up just a little bit. This is not a heavy amber, but it still has that sweet, exotic, spicy, ambery goodness. And I think because it's light and it has those aromatics, it's going to be perfect for the warmer months. And it is my mother's signature scent. She wears it year-round and is always excited to tell me. She gets compliments. I think she was voting on voting day. She got a compliment from somebody, and another one like in the grocery store line, and another one at the post office. This is very, very pretty. So the next one is a perfume that I thought I would be using it mostly as a fall floral, but to me it's really a spring floral. This really has turned out to be a perfect spring floral for me, and it is Psychedelic Love by EBK Parfums. So the main flower in here is ylang-ylang, and ylang-ylang can smell like a banana, and it definitely smells like a banana in here. I don't know why I haven't worn this yet. I could have worn it over the winter time. I just don't really wear a lot of florals in the winter, but this beautiful ylang-ylang that smells like a banana pudding. It's creamy, it's soft, it's powdery, it's smooth, it's sweet. There has to be vanilla in here. And the sweetness is kind of like an almondy sweetness. Not quite marzipan, but like maybe an almond pudding type of sweetness. There is a beautiful powderiness to this, and I'm pretty sure it's from heliotrope. And this is one of the few Initios that is not a powerhouse. This is moderate performing, like 4 to 6 hours. Another one that is a compliment magnet when people get into my little scent bubble. And another one Picky Pat really enjoys. So Psychedelic Love, and I have one more. And it is one I'm totally obsessed with, my newest one from Diptyque. This is called Papier, and I bought this because of the steamed rice accord. I was all over that. If you're new, I'm totally obsessed with a handful of notes. Rice or anything rice related is one of them. I also like anything that's sweet or related to a carb. When I found that this had a steamed rice accord, I knew I had to have it. This is absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. This will be great for spring and summer. And this is supposed to evoke like paper or light paper. So that steamed rice accord, I definitely get it in the opening. I wish it lasted longer. It's gone by the dry down, but it really is pretty. And the florals in here are very, very pretty. Even though it opens with that not quite gourmandy steamed rice accord, this is a floral musk. And the flower in here, I know it has mimosa, and mimosa is a yellow flower, so it's a powdery yellow floral fragrance with musk. The musk is pretty dominant. I would say the musk is the dominant note in here, and this is a light wearing, very pretty fragrance. This will be great for the summertime too, or anything hot. Another one kind of falling in the clean girl, clean aesthetic, white t-shirt, your skin but better. Put together light, this would be perfect for the office, work appropriate, that kind of thing. And again, it's very light wearing. I get around 4 to 6 hours max with this. And again, there is plenty of room for fragrances that aren't beast mode in my collection. And that is it for today's top spring picks, with the caveat that Spring Gourmands with the beautiful Sharita is coming in a week. And if I can get my act together, I will do a week of florals. Again, if you want to be included and you want to put your name in, I think I have an extra one. I think I even have one more upstairs, so that would be 3 discovery sets. If you want to be included in the giveaway, make sure you put in the comments, I love the 90s. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for supporting me. You guys know who you are. I'd love to hear about your spring favorites in the comments. And with that, I will see you on the next one.